4 airlines are entering the WA market and set to bring down ticket prices in this post-pandemic world. Aviation editor Geoffrey Thomas is here to talk to us about it. Good to see you again, Jeff.
Great to see you, Mon.
Talk us through these new additions. How's WA benefiting?
Look, it's really exciting. China Southern is coming back to Western Australia. Thai International is also going to be coming back to Western Australia. Sichuan Airways from China, it will be a new carrier to Western Australia coming in possibly early next year. CityLink coming back onto the Bali-Perth route and Jakarta-Perth route. South African Airways going to restart the Johannesburg to Perth services as well. And then Cathay Pacific is increasing from 3 flights a week to 7 by January, February next year. So there's a lot of activity in the international space.
All right, what impact will it all have on international ticket prices?
Well, it'll certainly put downward pressure on them, there's no question about it, because this is the capacity we need into the market to really give some stiff competition, and definitely fares will come down.
What about domestically?
Look, it's going to have a flow-on effect to domestic, because all of a sudden folks that are not flying domestically, the folks that are flying domestically at the moment will then move to the international routes as the fares come down. So there's going to be some movement in travel from domestic to international, and then you'll see a corresponding reduction in domestic fares.
Geoffrey, since the pandemic, the industry has just been besieged by delays and poor service. I mean, surely passengers can expect more from the airlines by now?
Look, you'd think so, and I'd like to say so, but the problem is there's multiple problems. One of the huge issues is the supply chain issue. The supply chain of aviation is broken, and it'll be another 12 months before it rights itself. That manifests itself in things like spare parts. Jetstar had 4 planes grounded last year for about 2 or 3 months because they couldn't get spare parts from Boeing. So there's a lot of issues that have come to play, and we're a little way away yet before it'll get normal.
Jeff, we asked viewers what they'd like to see from international travel post-COVID. Jeff Hotchkiss says prices back to where they were before. Now, you've sort of partially explained what the chances are of that happening.
Look, yes, I have, and certainly capacity is the key. I mean, even with airlines like Qantas, they're still bringing aircraft back from the desert. They're A380s. They're coming back one by one by one. Virgin's bringing in more aircraft. Bonza, another airline that possibly come to Western Australia early next year, they're bringing more aircraft in. So there's a lot of aircraft coming into the country on the domestic space, and that will help to bring the fares down.
Louise Garland writes, cheaper flights to and from the UK as 2 to 3 times as much since COVID. Now, flight costs to the UK in particular is a topic of discontent.
Look, it is, and the premium paid on the non-stop is very high. That's not stopping people buying tickets on it because it's full. There are more options with Qatar and Emirates and Singapore, but with Cathay Pacific coming back with 7 flights, that will add another option for travellers to the United Kingdom.
Adi Santoso writes, Perth-Tokyo incoming. A direct service is set to resume later this year, isn't it?
Yes, All Nippon Airways have said, yes, we're coming back in October, although they have not loaded the flights into the system yet. So there's a bit of a question mark. They've reaffirmed that they're definitely coming. It may be not October, maybe a bit later. But one of the options with Cathay offer fantastic services to northern Japan. So going via Hong Kong is a great option, because when you go on All Nippon, you still have to go to Narita, and then you have to change planes to get up to the ski fields. So Cathay would be a good option.
Brad Aram wants Garuda, Perth to Bali, and he's not the only one.
No, I know. A lot of people want Garuda to come back, but it appears as though Garuda is not going to come back because they've just started to pay refunds to cancelled tickets, which is an indication that they're not coming back. But CityLink is their low-cost subsidiary, and that, as I mentioned earlier, they are coming to Western Australia, so I think that's going to be their option.
Celestine Prabhu suggests Perth to India direct flight. We do have a growing Indian population here in Perth.
Look, that is absolutely spot on, and I expect in the next 6 to 12 months that we're going to get some direct services to India, and also another real gem is Vietnam. And I think that an airline like Vietjet, which has started services to Melbourne and Sydney and now Brisbane, Perth is next on their radar, so that would be a very exciting option too.
Sandra Strange wants more flights in Australia from Busselton.
Yes. Good point.
Going to the regions.
Bonza is looking at Busselton. They're in discussions with Busselton, so there may be some flights domestically. I don't think there'll be any internationals though.
Diane Moore tells us Karratha to Perth return as much as $1,200. Get to New Zealand from Perth for that. Rort.
Yes, look, the intrastate fares are expensive. The government has moved in for residents in those regions to offer them special deals. There are special deals around, but yes, it is expensive.
Sounds like there's going to be a lot of action in our skies. There are many more viewer suggestions as well, Geoff, but we'll have to leave it there for now, and we will keep our eyes on the skies. Till next time, thank you.
Pleasure.